Recording and taping notifications, as required by the law, the town may audio or video record this meeting. Any person intending to either audio or video records this open session is required to inform the chair. And having none, we will go on to public announcements, comments, and guests. Pete, I think we'll put you on first.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Why don't you come on up?
Come on, front row, Mr. Pekarski.
I'll sit right here.
There you go.
I'll be as brief as I can. I appreciate your time today. I know the last thing you need is some blowhard coming and taking up your valuable time. But I come before you with what I would consider a concern when it comes to the pickleball courts. Not sure, again, I know there was a reason. I'm not privy to the reason, nor did I need to be. But I understand from visiting the courts, using the courts, that currently the courts are reserved from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. I should say 100% of the courts are reserved from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, 7 days a week. And I know it doesn't sit well with others. It doesn't sit well with me. I'm only representing myself tonight. I don't understand the logic behind it. Again, I'm sure there was a discussion or a reason, but what I'll share is that it prohibits folks like me who work a typical 40-hour work week, who may occasionally have a day off in the week or a vacation week, or Saturday or Sunday, where I'd like to go down and use those courts, yet I have to wait until afternoon time to gain access. So I'm here before you tonight to ask whomever to potentially reconsider that, and perhaps we reduce it so that it's not 100% of the courts that are reserved. Perhaps it's not 7 days a week that the courts are reserved. Again, I've heard from other people. I'm not here to speak for them, but I know I'm not alone in this thought process, and that's really all I'm here for, is to ask for that to be reconsidered and thought.
What is it specifically that you would like to see happen?
Again, I'd like to see it less than 100% of the courts, available courts. So I think right now there's, 8 courts? So is it 6, or 7 courts that are reserved during that time frame, which leaves 1 or 2 courts available for others to use in the course of the week?
You're talking about after 12 o'clock?
No, I'm talking during the day. Sure. Yeah,
Before.
Yeah, and 8 in the morning, or shall I say the morning, anytime before noontime, is a desirable time to play that sport.
Right.
You're not dealing, in the summertime with the heat, with baking in the sun, things of that nature. So a lot of people want to get down there prior to noontime. They actually probably like to get down there prior to 11. So having the courts available for the general public, or at least some courts available to the general public during that time frame, would be appreciated. And certainly the fact that it's 7 days a week prohibits a lot of us from using it during that desired time frame.
Okay. Right?
Well, it's a rec department program to begin with.
I agree.
And there's well over 300 people that have signed up and paid their $50 to reserve that time. And if you go on a website, USAP website, every town in the state is on there that has pickleball. Sure. And you can see their hours, and we're no different than the other towns, really. They have that. The dentist has the exact same time as we have, 8 to 12. After 12, anybody plays.
Oh, sure.
It could change next year, possibly. We have a RFP we're going to open up this Thursday for 4 more courts. So maybe something possibly could be done.
And that actually is part of my concern, because I understand about the RFP process that's forthcoming. However, if we just go ahead and rent those courts as well, and it continues to be 100%, then folks who have an occasional day off aren't able to go down there between 8 and 12. And I can appreciate that some of the other towns have the same. It doesn't mean we have to follow suit. And again, I'm not looking to ban the group, for crying out loud. I agree, it's a rec program, it's good, it's healthy. But I think part of the mission of the rec commission and the youth department is to, encourage recreational activities. And by somewhat limiting the use of those courts to folks who aren't enrolled in the program, is not necessarily following through with that mission.
Can I go around, please?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
This has been a pet peeve of mine, as most of the people on the commission understand from the beginning. Been on this commission over 20 years, by far, bar none, the most complaints I've ever had in regards to one topic has been the mornings where the general public can't play. There's no open court time. I understand it's a rec program, I understand other towns may do it. But this year was by far the worst. I mean, I have emails and I meant to print it and get it for everybody. And I think it needs to be, and they may have already addressed this, but if they get there to play, they shouldn't be pounced on. And the response that I get, that the people that asked to try to play were told, go away. You're not playing, this is our time. Didn't witness it. I know there was one couple from New York, parents of a house in town. They were playing on the first tennis court, and I talked to them, and they said Walter, who was there, was very amicable, explained the situation, but there were a couple other pickleball people that got involved when they shouldn't have. Mind your own business, and they went right after these kids, and he was an attorney, and his eyebrows were raised. I have an email from him. So if you just told, most people, if you're just told, will probably just go play on the tennis courts. But, you know, the old saying you were brought up, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that I think is important as well. I personally would like to see a dedicated open play court starting next spring if it's needed. If it's not needed, anybody, the rec group can use it. But if there are people that want to play in the morning, I think they should be allowed to.
Good point. Phyllis?
Okay, so I'm a pickleball player, I play every day, so I'm there. This year, we were given instructions by the rec department of what the rules would be. Not the rec commission, but the rec department, of what the rules would be. And then they didn't have anyone there to enforce the rules, but they told us how to, what they wanted to do. We put up multiple signs and nobody paid attention to the
Signs meaning what?
Signs about what the regulations are from the rec commission, not from the players, okay? So the players were put in a rather uncomfortable position of enforcing rules that we actually didn't ask for and weren't discussed with. We, just like somebody pays to use the softball fields or whatever, we actually paid to use the courts. So anyone in town could sign up and come and use them, even if you come one day a week. There's no reason why you can't sign up.
Is that an issue with you, Peter, signing up?
Sure,
That's
sure.
the issue?
Well, no, it's not the only issue. No, you know,
In other words, if you wanted to play in the morning, could you sign up to be a member of that 8 to 12 group?
could I? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I want to? No.
Okay,
Because when I play, I prefer to play my wife and I.
okay,
I'm not looking to be part of a larger group.
right.
I'm not looking to, you know, fall in line with what they're
Right.
doing. So, and I'm not knocking the program. I think the program is wonderful. Like I said, I think, you know, having these courts in town is wonderful. Having folks who want to use them is wonderful. But the fact that it's 100% of the courts, 7 days a week from 8 to 12, we don't have another program in town that does something like that. And I'm glad other towns do it. But there isn't another facility that's reserved 7 days a week for a block of time such as that.
So my sense is that you're looking for a court to be able to have available for folks like yourself,
General public.
open to you for any time they want to come down, that's dedicated to that for that reason.
Sure.
And then
Is that something that is doable for us?
Well, the season's pretty much,
No, I'm talking about next year when the new ones are put up.
It could be, yes.
Okay, John?
In regards to Phyllis's comment about softball courts, the difference being is there are 8 courts. There's no other facility where we have 8 fields. If there were 8 softball fields and they were all being reserved 4 hours a day, every day, I'd have the same feeling. I think it's the number of courts and the fact that a taxpayer wants to use them, and unless they're registered to play in the rec program, they can't do it.
But I think your point is well taken. I think that if folks wanna have the opportunity to be able to, use the facilities at any given moment, you know, you're gonna have 8, potentially 4 more.
Yeah,
Four more
open it,
courts.
yeah.
I mean, if
We'll
we had
know,
one dedicated
Thursday.
set aside for folks in town that want to use the pickleball court at their leisure, at their time, whenever available, it's something for us to think about, you know, as we move forward for next year. Maybe we have to sit down and talk about it again, another agenda, you know, put it on the agenda, discuss it fully. And see, you know, let's wait until we get them up. You know, let's wait until we get them going, and then once they're in place, maybe we should sit down and come to some conclusion as to how we want to address this, so that everybody's clear about it, and there's a sense of understanding and transparency in terms of what we want to do.
There is one,
It's very popular, you know, it's, we're trying to keep up with the demand, if you will.
there is, town of Yarmouth is open on Sunday for open play, anybody.
Right.
And
John, please.
Phyllis and Frank may be able to answer this question. It may be, I don't wanna say much ado about nothing, but once there are 4 more courts, it may be a rare
it
occasion.
may not be a problem at all.
And the registered group will be able to use it.
Right.
So that's what we're hoping for, that the ones who wanna play can play.
Yeah.
And it's not messing up the apple cart.
I think, you know, I think your point is well taken, Pete. I think you know that it's a serious moment, and we'll, you know, issue, and we'll deal with it to the best of our ability, and hopefully we can resolve this as we move forward. Yes, ma'am.
Julie Kavanaugh, I'm the chair for your, I'm the
Hi,
liaison for
Julie,
your,
thank you.
sorry, for your board,
And
I'm
who
not
is
your
the gentleman
chair.
next to you?
This is Art Bowden, but I'm not with
I'm just,
Art.
I wanna join in on the fray here, I got a comment on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
I just wanted to share, as your liaison, I got some feedback from the public as well. And it was the same, feedback in the sense that there should be some type of open court. It was a similar situation, a guy who grew up in town, his mother went down to play pickleball with her friend. She was kicked off the court, and not nicely, and really kind of elevated when he went down to find out, you know, what the rules were and why. And they don't wanna be in a league, they just wanted to play.
They want to play.
Yeah, so I just wanna say that, you know, your example is one of, I think, several. And same thing, I'm not currently a pickleball player, but if I don't have time to be in a league and I wanna go play, there should be a dedicated, open time for people to play.
Well
So,
taken, thank you, Julie,
thanks.
appreciate it. Any other comments from anyone? Okay, Pete? Pardon me?
On pickleball,
Okay. You have anything you want to say, sir?
not on pickleball, no.
Okay, all right. Pete, you all set?
Yeah, I appreciate your time.
We good?
We're good.
Thank you very much. We'll
Thanks.
work on it, Pete. We'll see what we
Appreciate
can come up with.
Thanks again.
The thing we want to be able to do is get those in place first, and then we can go from there.
No, understood.
Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate
Thanks,
your time.
Okay,
Have a good
thank
night.
you.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it. Do you have something, sir, that you want to bring up?
I'll get on the hot seat here. My name is Arthur Bowden, I live in Harwich, I live on Orleans Road, and for a point of reference, my backyard backs up the pickleball court.
Backs up where?
Backs up the pickleball court.
Okay,
The house that I went,
okay,
right in front of it.
okay.
So if we keep building more pickleball courts, they're gonna be on my patio pretty soon, but that's been there. My comment is, on maintenance of the, playground at Brooks Park. Particularly the, children's playground. Now, I'll have to bore you for 30 seconds, that, why we've been on Cape Cod over 20 years, and my grandchildren always came up during the summertime, and they always went to the park to play in the children's playground, which they always enjoyed. A week ago, I had the pleasure of having my great-grandchildren come up. And now they're just like this, of course. And they went to play in the same playground that their parents played in. Okay? So I went along with them. So I was there and off to the side, and my wife was taking pictures and so on and so forth. It was a beautiful day, and there was other people, families there. And it's a beautiful playground, beautiful. It's a treasure for the town. But like all treasures, who should be taking care of it. And it needs a little bit of a maintenance. And this is an ongoing pet peeve I have with not only Harwich, but government in general. We build things, but we have a hard time maintaining them. Now, I know you allocated funds now for more pickleball courts and basketball courts. And it's like, I wonder if they even put $5 in there for maintenance. But anyways, there's a couple specific things inside the playground, we're talking about the playground now, that need to be attended to. It's a beautiful playground, and it's all fairly new equipment, and it still looks fairly new. It doesn't all beat up, except there's 2 items, or actually 3 items. There's some sort of spinning wheel type thing.
Yeah.
That's had not used tape or crime scene tape wrapped around it all season. And I even brought this up to a neighbor of mine who works for the town of Harwich in the maintenance department. He said, well, I'll check into it. Well, if he checked into it or not, it wasn't his purview to do that. It still needs to be repaired. And the kids are on it, and the thing is leaning this way. The second thing is, in the main section where the slides are and so on and so forth, it looks like it's been a subject of some vandalism, because some of the uprights, which are like, steel, metal, very sturdy, look like someone took a baseball bat and tried to beat the living heck out of them.
On the slide, sir?
Not on the slide, on the uprights.
Up the upright of the
There's a
slides.
couple uprights that look like
Okay.
they try to cave them in. I mean, you really had to hit them.
The uprights of the slides, John.
It's not, it didn't happen from normal use. This is, someone must have hit them with, I don't know what they hit them with. Anyway. And then the second thing is, there are a couple areas where the fencing, because the fencing is low, because the kids that play in there are small, they don't need high fencing. The fencing is broken down. So, a typical little kid, where's he gonna go? He's gonna go to where the fencing is broken, and of course, and the prongs are all sticking out. So, my point is, maintenance.
Okay.
There should be, every time we build something, let's put a few dollars aside for, if we need $100,000 for pickleball court, let's put $10,000 off to the side and say, let's maintain that pickleball court, or whatever it might be. I'm just using that as an example because we're talking about.
I'm glad you brought this to our attention, okay?
Anyway, so
And
those are the things like that.
I've got it listed here as and those 3 items,
Yeah.
and we'll see to it that the maintenance
And-
department
and
gets on it
Is
as
a
quickly as
treasure,
we can.
I mean, and, just to respond on that, you know where a town's heart is when you
Yeah.
look at the playground.
Right.
Look at the playgrounds and community center and things like that. And one thing I keep saying that and boring people to tears when it comes to Harwich, and we really try at Harwich. We try to the point where we actually rate our beaches. I tell people far and wide, come to Harwich,
Yeah.
and you'll be amazed because the beaches are raked. That's how we care. So,
We have a beautiful town, we want to keep it that way.
and it's only little things. I mean, it's not a big dollar amount. It's not probably one guy a half a day would fix everything out.
We'll deal with it, sir.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
bringing it to our attention.
Thank you very
I'm gonna
much.
sit in for the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Art, I appreciate that. Julie, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm actually just here.
Are you going to be our liaison to?
She is.
I am your liaison.
Okay, good, thank you.
And, I was just gonna connect after the meeting just
Good,
to share.
thank you,
some
appreciate it
thoughts.
for being here. Anything you need, let me know.
No,
Let us know. Okay,
great, thank you.
Okay, director's report, we don't have, waiver requests, fee waiver requests. I have any idea what that's all about?
It's not in your folder?
No.
Then,
Recreation director's report, we don't have tonight because our director's been out with some personal issues. Property maintenance report, we don't have for tonight.
Can I bring something up about that along the lines?
Go ahead, I
Mr.
think
Bowden?
it would be appropriate. Maintenance, under maintenance,
I spend a lot of time weeding around the pickleball courts. There's a lot of bittersweet growing around the tennis courts and the pickleball courts that I can't pull up. And they're very good about mowing the fields and all that kind of stuff, but how come they never come and maintain other areas? The bittersweet's gonna eat up everything. It's gonna go undermine the courts.
okay.
It's really highly invasive.
It's a weeding issue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually in between, on the tennis side of, where the fence is, on the tennis side, there's major stuff over there. Last year, they came and they cut literally trees down that were growing in the basketball courts. They weren't huge trees, but they had snaked their ways in there. They hadn't touched it for
Okay.
years.
We'll look into that as well. I kind of suspect one of the problems is that we used to be able to have a lot of summer help. We just can't get the help to do the things that we need to do. I mean, you got Jared and you got, he's been.
Jared and you have Jared.
And you got Jared and Jared.
We've been trying to,
Brian has been promoted to the foreman of the highway department, so Jared is pretty much alone now. And he's gotta do the beaches and he's gotta do all of the fields and the parks and so on. So, it's a staff issue more than anything else, okay?
But when they come and do the mowing, and a lot of times they're mowing
Yeah.
dirt.
We'll put out
Literally,
an
it's a
order and
dust
see what
ball.
we can come up
blow
with,
it on the
okay?
court.
Right,
Yeah.
they could actually spend, instead of doing that, spend the time
Okay.
cleaning up the perimeters of the courts and in between the
Okay,
courts.
we'll look into it, okay, thanks.
and also with, fence issues, gates and stuff
Yeah.
like that, we just can't get anybody to come
Yeah,
and do
we,
a small.
Yeah,
we
Mr.
maintain, the players maintain the courts, basically.
If I may, to Mr. Bowden,
Yes.
that is our biggest, probably our biggest
Getting
problem,
someone.
is getting the fence company we've used for years, they don't call back, they don't show up.
We've been
So
trying to get
getting a
fences
fence
fixed.
company is
We've been
impossible.
trying to get the 3 sections of fences fixed for, God, 6 months at least.
Oh, yeah.
Those are
And,
small
we
jobs.
contact,
come.
fence companies, and they're such small jobs that they just don't wanna put the time in, to send the crew here to do a job that's not, worth their time and money and energy and so on, so, they're sitting out there. So, we just have to be patient and keep on pushing and pushing and pushing until we get somebody out here that's willing to do those small jobs, if you will. So that's the problem that we're dealing with. Commissioner's report. Let me do something here that I want to take for a moment while we got some time. Unfortunately, the other folks aren't here, but John, we have something for you, sir. I put together a little plaque with the help of the guys, okay, and this is a little plaque that we want to give to John Mahan, who was our chairman for 17 years, and under his leadership and guidance, steady guidance at that, and leadership, we have accomplished a great deal as a rec commission with our CPC funds that came in well over $2 million of projects that we have been able to garner through CPC, and look at Brooks Park and the fields and that we have, and all of the beaches that are in great shape, and we're on top of it. I think we have one of the best run departments, around this area. And John has been a leader for 17 years. So John, presented by the commission members with thanks and grateful recognition for his outstanding leadership and dedication as a member and chair for 17 years. John, good luck, buddy. Thank you for everything. And as chairman replacing him, I have got
It's all you, buddy, it's all you.
I've got a long way to go to fill those heavy shoes of his. And I'm sure that he'll give me all the guidance and recognition that we need. That might look good in your office, John.
Here you go, there you go, thank you very much.
You're welcome, buddy. You deserve it. You've been a great leader for us. Okay, liaison reports, community preservation. We don't have Dave Nixon with us tonight, so we're gonna put that on hold. We've gotta get going and get that, we've gotta get some applications in ASAP, so we may have to call a special meeting or something to get something done here. We've got, let's see where we are. Get you.
What are we looking for then?
I got under here, right? The CPC articles that we have to move on.
Oh,
Okay, the first article is the Harwich Department, the Brooks Park Landscaping and Beautification Project.
Yeah.
That was one of our projects that we, for $25,000.
yeah, and there was one thing they didn't know about, which is gonna be our responsibility, hooking it up. They didn't
Yeah.
know where the water was, and
Right.
I assume it's right between the two bathrooms, the mechanical room or whatever you
Yeah.
call it. So it shouldn't be, that's on us to hook it up.
The other one is the O'Leary's Landscape and Irrigation doing the wiring.
Well, that's the same,
Yeah, that's the
same
same.
project. You
Yeah.
put
The
it
second
on-
one was, the second one, the Veterans Memorial Electric Irrigation Replacement Request for $37,000. That was the other one that we had, that Brian brought forth.
which is,
And I talked to him today and he said, we gotta get on that. He said, because if those wires really go to haywire, he's gonna shut the pump off, because we can't burn these things out any further.
Mr. Chair, these weren't voted at the
We voted
August
these.
meeting?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So these are already voted?
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
voted. We've gotta get them into
CPC.
David for CPC.
Well, today's only Tuesday, so
Yeah.
we have till October first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which is-
And
somehow
I
we gotta get
believe
these.
the director has them done.
Okay.
That's,
These are the ones that I was given.
but these aren't the
No,
applications.
I have
no.
these here. These are the
Okay,
applications.
okay. But they're already voted. That was what I was
Right,
trying to
yeah,
clarify.
yeah.
Okay.
And the other one, Senior Memorial Softball Field Fencing Project request for $110,000. That these were voted. And the thing is, I was hoping that Dave would be here. We could pass this on to David, and if he had any
Yeah.
questions, he could then take these and move forward with them. But I'll try to get in touch with them, see what the best way we go with these. I don't know if they're voted. I just hopefully just have to pass them on to him, and he can take them from there.
Do you have in that packet, you said I have these. Are those the full-blown CPC applications that Eric provided?
These are the application requests.
Okay,
Yeah, there are 3 of them.
all filled out,
Yeah,
signed?
all filled out. and
Okay.
signed. Okay. So we gotta get these to David.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll call him and see if we can get moving on this. All right. A Facilities Committee, we haven't had a meeting in 3 months. We're down to 3 members of that committee. We've lost 2 members. There were
Ralph
5
Smith
members.
is not on it anymore?
Who?
Ralph Smith? Is he
He's
on?
still on it.
He's still on?
Myself and Shalaka.
Okay.
We've lost 2 others. And so they're trying to get people to sign up for that committee. So obviously, unfortunately, we haven't had meetings. Okay. Fees, Forms, and Policy Subcommittee.
That would be Leah and I
Yeah.
have nothing.
And Eric is working with you guys,
I
right?
have gotten nothing.
Nothing's been happening at
I've
this time.
gotten no
Okay,
information.
we have to get going on those. Okay, there's some policies that we have to look at and see if we get going.
Who's on that subcommittee?
Leah
Leah?
and I, and Eric was gonna, send us.
You don't have a chair? Eric's gonna be the chair, or are you gonna?
We have not met. I have gotten
Okay.
0
Okay,
information.
all right, we'll deal with that, okay? Old business, do we have any old business tonight that needs anything? Frank?
I don't think so.
John? You good?
No, I'm good. Thank you very
Phyllis?
much.
Okay. CPC articles we took care of. Pickleball, request for porta potties in the off-season, mid-October through mid-April.
Yeah, believe it or not, people play all winter. It's, even when it's cold.
Right, so can I just,
Go ahead.
when they had us sign up for the spring, usually we'd sign up mid-May to mid-October, and then we'd move inside. People would still play outside. But this year, they had us sign up from mid-May 2023 to mid-May 2024. So basically, they are responsible for the rec department is responsible for what goes on for the whole year. And the bathrooms are close up because of the water.
Right.
So they're requesting, because they're supposed to play all year now outside.
Yeah,
I
why
don't think
why that
that's
was
not-
done is
that's-
beyond me,
That's
but,
not, that was I think that was a typo.
yeah.
It was clearly typed 2024,
Yeah,
May
for
15th,
whatever
May
reason.
14th. It was not, it wasn't a typo. It
So
was
that's
intentional.
outside only?
No,
No, we'll
no,
be
it's
playing
inside
inside.
also.
So does that cover playing in the cultural center is my point for
Wow,
the winter months? I would
Good
not think so.
question.
Cause the fee was $50.
for outside play.
Right.
But my
And-
question is that form, which is from May to May, does that cover the winter inside
I
session?
don't believe it does, I believe it's separate. I'd have to see it again, there's a separate
Right.
registration form for that.
That's what, okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's,
There are some people who don't like to play inside. They only like to play outside,
Yeah.
and we play year
So there's a
round.
cost factor here if the rec department puts there'll be another cost factor to
Right,
have one there every day for that period of time,
right,
And
to
it,
be cleaned and so on and so
Right.
forth every
And-
morning and,
and it'll be used by other groups too, man. You got those walkers that don't walk, what are they
yeah,
called?
because,
Nordic walkers.
because our bathroom is closed at
And
that
they
time.
got the
Right.
bicycle people.
Yeah.
And,
Um,
even in the wintertime, you know, as long as there's no snow
Right.
on
I'm
the.
not sure why it's an agenda item anyhow.
Yeah, you're right. I asked Eric, should I put it on?
Do you
should
need,
I ask-
you don't need a motion,
Okay,
do you? You don't want a motion?
No. No.
Just have a discussion with
Yeah.
the director, I mean, that's the way it's been done in the past.
we'll get it, we'll get.
It's no different than us putting there in the spring
Yeah.
before the bathrooms are opened up because we don't have people to clean
Right,
the bathroom, so it's the same thing.
And Elaine was looking at other besides Nauset, because Nauset, I guess, was sold as under someone's new leadership or something, and not happy with them, I guess, exactly.
It's always good to look around.
okay.
So she's looking to get a price and so forth.
All right, under new business, John gave me this today to pass out. I think is a thing that we should be very cognizant of. This came from the Selectmen's Handbook on the duties and responsibilities of the Youth and Recreation and Youth Commission, and under the Charter, Section 10, Recreation and Youth Commission, I would suggest that you take a copy of this and read it very carefully and know what your duties and responsibilities are. Next week, there's going to be a 2-hour session for open meeting laws and so on, which I will attend. And if any of you want to attend as well, you're welcome to do so.
isn't it this week?
It's next week.
No, it's tomorrow.
It's
tomorrow.
Thursday. It's tomorrow.
Thursday,
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that.
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's
Thursday.
tomorrow.
There's
Yeah.
2 sessions, but you
Yeah.
do have
There's
to
2
sign up
sessions.
by tomorrow.
There's one from 2 to 4 and the other one's from 2 to 4 and the other
5
one's
to
5 to
7,
7.
Right.
So
Thursday.
I went last year,
Yeah.
very informative. They've got some good people that facilitate these meetings, and if you want to learn about the open meeting law, come on down and join up, and you'll learn a lot. I think those of you who are new to the board, to the commission, you might want to be there, because I think that it'll be helpful as we move forward with what we do as members of this commission. So I will be there at 2 o'clock tomorrow myself, okay? Thank you for this.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, Elaine, you have a copy of this, do you, Phil? Phyllis?
Thank you. Phil's
And
okay.
John, you have a copy?
Yes.
And you have a copy as well.
If I do,
I'll make sure that, there was another, question that was brought up before the meeting, and I don't know if it's appropriate to bring it up now, about the benches that,
It's not on the
you
agenda.
know, it's not on the agenda, so we'll put it on the agenda next time and discuss it fully. Other than that, I have no other issues at this point.
just point of interest, we're opening the bid Thursday at 2 o'clock for the new courts.
Okay.
Well, as far as maintenance goes,
What time is that?
2 o'clock
o'clock.
Thursday.
Thursday?
And we're having maintenance done on pickleball courts and basketball courts. We're working on a date right now. We're working,
Where is this opening at, Frank?
well, last week, I was the only one there. It's usually in the main office where the selectmen meet,
Yeah.
but it was right in the office, because there were only 2 bidders, and neither one of them was there, but they,
And this is for the 4 pickleball courts, huh?
yeah, we're gonna get action on that, because
And the half basketball court, Van.
And I have basketball.
Lawrence Lynch put something in, I believe Dirtworks did, so. Rather amazing, though, the way the system.
Is there,
I
once
think
you
we're
open the bids, is there a timeline in terms of when they start the
And then-
project?
Well, they said must be completed, on the resurfacing, it says must be completed by July 1st, 2024. That is very temperature, you know, it has to be, it can't be cold like, you know, it's gotta be warm, because they put layers of this goopy stuff and fiberglass and more. It's very temperature.
Do you anticipate that the pickleball courts
So
will be
I-
ready for use next year?
If, we'll find out,
Based
Yeah.
on the bids.
we'll
Yeah.
find out Thursday at 2 o'clock. We believe we have enough in there. If they went up more than 20% since, you gotta remember, the quote we received was July 2 years ago. So I'm sure they've gone up. I don't know if asphalt is, believe it or not, asphalt is not the biggest part of the project. You would think that'd be the biggie, number, but it's not, it's what goes under the asphalt, the fencing and all that stuff. And the labor.
So our hope is that we'll have 4 new ones sitting there. Yeah.
Hopefully, that's what we're shooting for, as long as it's
Okay.
less than, 245,000, yeah.
Good. Yeah, John?
Just keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Phyllis, you got anything you want?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's pretty brief.
Van?
Yeah.